Okay, welcome to cut to the chase. Cut to the chase with Jen and Dan.
And milkshakes.
And milkshakes. So today, I'm Dan. This is Jen.
These are our milkshake friends.
Today we're at Lickee's and Chewy's Candies and Creamery in downtown Dover, New Hampshire. We are in one of the old mill buildings in this phenomenal, beautiful ice cream candy shop, and we have these amazing...
They're luxury milkshakes. What can I say? Mine is the Fields of Gold. It's everything Reese's peanut butter cups and Reese's Pieces and peanut butter. I've got the spoon option, so as I start to lose things, because I, talk a lot, I'm going to just have at it.
Yeah, perfect. So, and I'm drinking the Oreo OMG over here, and I don't even know that I can finish a quarter of this, but it looks pretty amazing, so I'm kind of excited about it.
So why the milkshakes, you're wondering? It's not because we really wanted to chew our food in front of you. It's because it's 4th of July week, and for Independence Day we wanted to do something a little bit more celebratory. So
something a little fun.
Yeah, the table we're at, the owner Chris actually made himself. It's incredible. So when you come, make sure you check it out.
Has all these different candy pieces filled with like a hard resin, which is really amazing. Wow, very impressive.
So it's totally fun. It's an absolute blast for grown-ups and adults, and great way to celebrate our Independence Day week. And we have a lighter show today, if you can't tell. And I'm going to laugh and munch chocolate when Dan's talking. So tell us what article we've got today.
To give you something to do while I'm talking, instead of just stare at the camera.
Like peanut butter.
Okay, so today we have a cool Inman article that we'll link up on the show notes and on the YouTube page, but this is an article that says 7 myths buyers actually believe. So there's lots of rumors or myths that people hear in the real estate industry that may not necessarily be true. So we're just going to kind of go through the list, give our little take on it, and we'll share it with you. Happy 4th of July to everyone. Hope everyone's enjoying the beautiful week. We finally have some nice weather here as well, which is great. It's been kind of a dreary
slow
spring.
Start to the summer.
Yeah. So the first myth that we're going to tackle is that agents are paid a salary by the brokerage and the commission is extra. Whoops.
Oreo down.
I don't want to take a ton of time to talk about this, just because
you want to eat your ice cream.
For sure.
Yeah, I know. We know.
But basically, real estate agents,
I'm rescuing.
Thank you. It's on the
rescue
table.
mission. You see, it's teamwork. It's all about the teamwork.
So, real estate agents, we don't make a salary. We don't get paid hourly. Our pay is directly in correlation with how many houses that we're selling. So that's why we work so hard for our clients, to try to sell as many houses as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can actually think of each real estate professional that you meet as running their own mini business. Everybody works for a brokerage because that's required by law, but the brokerage is really just an umbrella to work under for some resources and kind of a real estate family. Mm-hmm. But really, each individual agent, even within a brokerage, they're really different. And some folks really make it their full-time career and passion, and some are doing it sort of as a part-time job. So Those are good conversations to have about that.
Yeah, good to know for sure whether your agent, is going to be out there working all the time, or has another job, which some people need, which is great for them. But just a good information to know. So number 2, every home that's for sale can be found on consumer websites. So this isn't entirely true either. So most of the major websites like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, they all get fed out the data from the MLS, which is the multiple listing service, which is where we as realtors look to find where we put all the properties. So some of the smaller websites may not update as frequently. I know Zillow updates like every 2 hours. Some websites update a little bit slower. So I like to send out a listing card to buyers so that they're getting updates like ASAP as soon as something comes on the market, especially with the inventory that we've been having.
Yeah, and homes that are for sale are not always in the MLS because using the MLS system is not the only way to sell your house.
Exactly.
So you really need to talk to your real estate professional to find out if there are certain homes that you're interested in, if those might be on the market. Most real estate agents have kind of a secret list of homes of people that they know from past relationships or in-house in their brokerage of people that are getting ready to sell or are open to selling. There's some other methods. So I'm super excited. Like I want to see like who's looking at candy. As I said before, I'm a mom, so I'm always excited about the little people walking around. Anyway, myth number 3, what do we got?
All right, so number 3, there's nothing wrong with calling listing agents to see if homes we're interested in if our agent is not available. So I guess buyers sometimes like to think that they don't want to bother us or that
well, you can
maybe
just call
we're too busy,
whoever.
or that they can just call the listing agent and they can get an appointment, and then the buyer's agent will just show up with them or something like that. But listing agents, they work directly for the seller, and while buyers can use whatever they want, whatever agent they want to assist in writing an offer, most people, should have somebody directly representing their best interests.
Yeah, and the odds that you might accidentally share some information that you don't mean to
Yes.
With that listing agent are pretty high. And of course, that listing agent, even if they're a nice person, their job is to help out their seller. So they're going to utilize the information that they learn from you, even in that casual first meeting, if they go to negotiate. So let's say you're buying a house that's $400,000. A good way to look at it is, would I have, if I were in a legal case, that's a $400,000 case, would I hire the other attorney to work for me? Definitely not. And it's kind of that same situation here when you call up the listing agent to go check out a property.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I think the big takeaway from that one is that there's a buyer's agent and there's a seller's agent, and the buyers, each person should have an agent representing them.
An agent and whipped cream.
And whipped cream, there you go. So number 4, a house passes or fails an inspection. So this is false because a home inspection is giving you an overview of the home's condition on the day that you're there.
Yeah, you can't pass it or fail it. You don't get a report card, this is an A house, this is an F house, it failed art class. Like, you're not going to get that.
No, but it gives you a really great overview and an insight into what maintenance items that you may need to be working on in the future. And like we talked about on our last show, as real estate agents, we're looking for undisclosed, unknown material defects in order to make sure that our buyers are getting into a house that's safe and and livable.
Right. So some of the stuff you're going to see is just general home maintenance, and just like the human body, we all have stuff, no matter how fit we are, that we could be improving on to be healthier. So every house is going to have that. Those items are not generally addressed post-home inspection. What are addressed are items in the home that are big systems that aren't functioning the way they should. So you have an air conditioning system and it no longer cools. That would be something that you would want to address, because it's a whole system that's not doing what it's supposed to. So if it wasn't disclosed to you, you'd be wanting to have a conversation about that. So you can't pass or fail an inspection. It's just a checkup from the doctor.
Yeah, exactly. So number 5, a buyer can and should ask for every item found on an inspection report to be fixed, whether it's an actual repair or even cosmetic in nature. So I guess we sort of jumped ahead a little bit on that last one, and we're talking a little bit about this one in general as well. So inspections are another negotiation point, but just because an inspector puts it on a report doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be requested to be addressed. And like Jen just said, every house, there's no such thing as a perfect house, basically. So there's always going to be something that comes up on every inspection report. And, we try to work together and compromise and try to make sure that safety items and any material defects are handled. Those are kind of the big things that we're looking for.
Yeah, and I think that there isn't a standard answer for how many items or even exactly which items to discuss after a home inspection, because each transaction is really, really different. So the motivations and the timeline and the specific needs of what the repair is. Maybe it's something to do with a chimney, and getting anybody in to do chimney work is very challenging around here because there are very few people who actually work on chimneys. So if you can't get a chimney repair person in to line that chimney, it's taking a mini break.
I knew that was going to happen again.
We brought a cameraman today. We're not going to show him off, but he's really handsome and he's my kid. But so back to my point. My point is that if you're going to close in 6 weeks and it's going to be 2 months until you can get a chimney person in, that's something that you're going to have to address a different way. So we can't give like a standard answer, on that kind of thing.
Exactly, and there can be other ways to negotiate rather than just having a seller fix the item. They could, either do a reduction in the purchase price, credit towards closing costs, maybe the buyer and seller split, depending on what the cost is. There's all different ways, and there are very out of the box ways that one can work to negotiate things. So there's always a way to get through a home inspection, especially if the buyer wants to buy and the seller wants to sell. So work closely with your agent through the home inspection. It's a stressful process both for buyers and sellers, and we're there to help you guys to get through it. So definitely it's something we work closely with.
Yeah, I think the last thing I want to say on that is try and keep it separate from what happened earlier when you were negotiating the purchase price, because the purchase price part is all done and the home inspection thing is a brand new fresh start on a new set of issues. It's separate from the purchase price of the house, so it's not a time to say, well, I gave them 10 grand off the purchase, or I offered 10 grand more than the purchase price, so they owe me so much in repairs on the home. That's actually incorrect thinking. The home inspection is a totally separate thing. You start back at zero, learn about the house, and then negotiate that specific part separate from the house price. So try and view it that way, and you'll have a much more successful transaction.
Absolutely. So number 6, the lower I offer, the more the seller will come off of their asking price. So this is not necessarily the case either. A lot of times, what happens, the lower the offer, the more, I guess, insulted that a seller can get, and sometimes they're even less likely to even negotiate with you, depending on how low the offer is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and when you're making an offer, you really should be, obviously looking at your own budget, but you should really be looking at that house and the market and the neighborhood. And if that house is priced at market price, offering below market price is not necessarily the best strategy, particularly in the Seacoast right now, because housing prices pretty much are right where they are, and because there are not a lot of homes on the market coming in with really low offers on homes that are priced right. Not going to be successful most of the time.
Yeah. And then number 7, the bank will send someone out to tell me if I'm paying too much. So I guess this might be talking about about an appraisal. So the bank's appraiser is sent out to do a valuation of the property for the bank that is providing the loan, and the appraiser is really just there to make sure that the house is worth what the bank is loaning on it, so that they feel comfortable with loaning you the money in order to purchase the property.
You got it.
And sometimes, if a lot of times when I'm working with a buyer, we'll put an appraisal clause into our offer, which kind of stipulates that if the property appraises at less than what we're purchasing it for, then we try to renegotiate the sales price. A lot of times we try to make it fair, that we meet in the middle. The buyer brings a little more to closing, the seller brings a little less to closing. or I'm sorry, not brings a little less, but takes a little bit less home. So there's always different strategic ways to negotiate through all of these things, and this is an important reason why you need an agent to work with you, because there are so many different areas of the real estate transaction that if you don't have somebody working on your side, you may miss out on things or something like that.
Yeah, they're going to need to negotiate for you. They're going to need to negotiate your price. They're going to need to negotiate terms of your contract, negotiate home inspection points, and then if there are issues around the appraisal, that's another point of negotiation. So that's something that really, needs to be addressed. And the last part with, is the bank going to tell me if I'm paying too much for this house? Is, if it doesn't appraise out, that's just simply the bank saying that they would want to recoup a different amount of money should you not be able to pay your mortgage.
Yep, exactly.
All right.
Well, I think that's it for our 7 myths that buyers actually believe. Let us know if you have any questions about any of those, or if you have any comments, and if I've dealt with any of this stuff before. We'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, leave us a review and a rating on iTunes. We're brand new, so we would love that.
Absolutely.
And I see some happy new friends in the corner eating ice cream, so I want to get to mine before it melts.
Look at it melting.
Have a great Independence Day, everyone.
Yes, thank you.